rid of everything associated with our past life if we want to go on, and not leave the door open in case we backslide. I meet people that say to me, well, I don't wear those kind of clothes anymore. No, but they're hanging in the wardrobe in case they ever need them again. In case they backslide. I don't play that kind of music anymore. I don't play that ungodly music anymore. No, but they keep it in storage in the attic somewhere, so that if they ever backslide, they know exactly where it is. You know, when God opened the Red Sea to let the children of Israel through, he closed it afterwards. So there was no way back to Egypt. We need to be like, if we're going to go on, we need to get the past, we need to get rid of the past. He slew his oxen because now he's saying, I'm going on. I'm going on. He's making sure that the only route he had left was to go with Elijah. And he was going all the way. It's a time to kiss goodbye to the world. Now this verse, I had trouble understanding it. And that's in verse 20. And he said, and he left the oxen and said, let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then will I follow thee. And he said unto him, go back again, for what have I done to thee? Now what does that mean? Go back to thee, for what have I done to thee? It's a strange statement. Elijah is saying, I want to kiss goodbye, I want to go back to my mother, I want to go back to my father, I'm going to kiss goodbye to them. And Elijah says, go, for what have I done to thee? And I thought about that. What is the meaning of that? Because it didn't make no sense. But then I realised what it was. What had been done to Elijah? Elijah, had put his mantle on him. The mantle had been passed on to him. And so, what Elijah was saying was, yes, you can go back to your mother. You can go back to your father. You can go back to them. But you must remember that when you go back, something has happened in your life. I have put my cloak, my mantle is upon you. So when you go back, you're not going back the same person. When you become a Christian, when you become a child of God, you don't go back to your family the way you used to be. You're now going back as a child of God. You're going back as an ambassador for Christ. And you remember that when you go back to your mother, and you go back to your father, and you go back to your workplace, you remember that something has been done in your life, and you go back and you better show them that you're now a child of God. You're different. My mantle is upon you. And when you go back, remember what I have done to thee. Remember that. Remember that your life is changed. And you go back to your workplace. Before you became a Christian, you go back one way. But now you're a Christian, you're going back as an ambassador for Christ. You're going back. And you're going to let your light shine, and your ways are going to be different. And your attitude is going to be different. Because remember, we're not going back the same way. When blind Bartimaeus came to Jesus, he didn't go back the same way. When the one with the issue of blood came to Jesus, she didn't go back the same way. Something had happened in our life. And we had better go, when we go back, we better show that something has happened in our life. I won't go into it now. I want to go into this on Wednesday. But we will see that after when Elijah decided to follow Elijah, there were 3 stages they went through before they got to Jordan. And on each case, Elijah said, "Tarry here, I must go on." But Elisha didn't. And we want to realise that there are things that we are going to go through before they got to Jordan and before the double anointing came upon Elijah. They went through some places. And I believe that these places represent stages in the Christian life. And I want to go into that on Wednesday. But let me just recap in 2 minutes on what we've been talking about so far, because I will cover the rest of this message on Wednesday, and on next Sunday I'm going to continue with soteriology part 2. And I felt led by God to talk on this subject today. So we are discussing aiming higher, and we said there are 3 questions that need to be asked. We're going to go higher. How far do you want to go? What are you doing to achieve it? What price are you willing to go? What price are you willing to pay to get there? And we also discussed that the calling of a man that wants to go higher is that first of all, he must be a man that is born again, saved. He must not be a lazy man. Lazy men never get higher. A lazy man wants to go up a mountain, he look for someone to carry him. He won't want to climb it himself. And then we said he must be willing to forsake all. Do you know, I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul that said those words, "Oh, that I might know him in the power of his resurrection." And I look at that words and I think that's strange. Why would Paul say that? Here was a man that had been on 3 missionary journeys. He had founded several churches. He had been used in the miracle ministry. And yet he comes out with those words, "Oh, that I might know him." And you say to Paul, "Don't you know him yet?" I mean, you're right into a church. When you're saying, "Oh, that I might know him," you're writing an epistle to a church that you founded. Don't you know him? And I could say, Paul, I could hear Paul say, when I met him on the road to Damascus, I knew him as my Saviour. A few days later, when he sent his servant down to me, and I was baptized with the Holy Spirit, I knew him as the baptizer. When I was caught up into the 3rd heaven and showed the mysteries, I knew him as the God of revelation. But it seems the more I know him, the bigger he becomes. And I say, "Oh, that I might know him." There should be that hunger. There should be that hunger in our life to know him. If there is no hunger to know him, we're never going to know him. Jesus said, "Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." Do we have that hunger to know God? I remember one time I was coming back after preaching in Manchester, and I was coming back, and I got hungry on the way home, and I stopped to buy some what they call junk food, I guess, McDonald's. And when I came home, my wife had cooked some cuckoo, which is not a bird, it's a traditional Bajan food. And I like it. But I couldn't eat it because I was full up with the junk food. You know, sometimes as Christians, we get so full of the entertainment and the things of this world, we don't have any hunger after God. There are people that can watch a movie like the Titanic that goes on for 3 hours, and they will sit glued to it.